If you simply wish to make a healing request, please type into the chat room on wolfspiritradio.com with the name of the person, the location, and the condition that the person needs healing. You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio. Go ahead, Frank.
Well, good evening, and hello, JP. And things in Scotland are moving right along, I assume.
So they are, yes, indeed. We've been making shungite things and having fun.
All right. Well, we've been having fun over here too, and that's what I'd like to talk to the group about tonight. I know probably 30 people out in the radio land ordered these transitional lights from us when Joan and I had these, actually promoting these, 6 months ago or so. And we've just gotten some new shipments into the crystals, especially cut crystals, that we put on these lights to stimulate the chakra system. And the reason, the functionality of these lights are exactly the same thing that we're working with now with the photon belt. When electromagnetic light, which is what an LED light is put through a crystal, particularly one that's cut correctly, it transmutes the electron energy into photon energy. And the photon energy can be in a standing wave or as a particle. And so as it comes into the system, and each color that's associated with the chakra system, the way these lights function is there's 4 different settings you can put them on. You can on the solid setting on where you can selectively put it on one color of the 7 primary colors, and then there's 3 secondary colors in between each one of these. And so there's actually 18 altogether in the array, but you can set them so it'll cycle through all of them either very, very slowly, like takes maybe a half a minute to cycle through all of them, and that stimulates the entire system, or you can set them to a faster pace. And in the process, it stimulates your chakras to open up, and you feel this happening. You feel the resonance of that subtle energy field, the photon field, working within the chakras. And what I discovered when I first started working with these things is that this is one way of accessing the low self primitive region of your mind, your subconscious mind, in the low self, down in the root chakra region that you literally can't get to otherwise unless you're incredibly well versed in psychic ability. And I can go in and do it for other people. But for someone to be able to do it themselves, it's virtually impossible. But that red light, when you're in that solid red light, it breaks things loose, and you feel these energies start rising in you. And as they come up into the higher frequency ranges, you work with them with your mind and create a torus and clear those things out of there, because they're just old fixed core reality programs that may have been there for thousands of years in your DNA. So by clearing these, releasing them, you get clarity through your whole system. And that's essential if you're going to work in Earth Mind, your extension of your own holographic unit in Earth Mind through resonance. Because if there's any clutter there, it inhibits not only your access to lower frequency ranges, but what you can do with it. And so I think they're just absolutely incredible. And I've recently, almost 3 months ago now, Rachel, I developed one on a bar, where I can set 7 of these units in a light bar. And when you turn those things on, it's just a force and of clearing, and you can set them to either rotate all at once and all the same color, or rotate through the cycles. And it's just like being in a bath subtle energy, crystal life force energy, because the frequencies coming through these crystals are resonating because they're coming through a crystal in the same frequency range directly into the subtle energy system of your body through the crystalline structures in your cell walls, the silicon dioxide. So your body it just becomes a living light in these things, and it allows you access in a way that we've not had before. And technology is doing a wonderful thing and giving us access to tools that we can use in our consciousness. What do you say about that, Rachel?
I find these lights incredibly powerful, and I also use it with your CD, with the chakra clearing CD, while I'm working with the lights, and I can feel like full of stuff, and then I'll work with this, and I feel so wonderful after. And it also works on a very deep level. Sometimes I'll be put out, and I know the lights are actually working with me when I'm sleeping as well. So highly recommend them. Incredible process for your healing to help move it out quicker.
Yeah, I think it accelerates our enlightenment process. Exactly the same thing as what the photon energy is coming in. But again, with the photon energy, it's just a wave of a blast of energy potential, a lot like the galactic energy is when it comes in, and you have to be able to work with it to know what to do with it in your system.
I also was working with an energy healer and have been working with them for quite a while, and I've been working with these lights, and when I came in, and he can also see energies, and he says, Rachel, what have you been doing? And I told him about the lights, and he goes, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it, because I was open and clear in a way I'd never had been before. So it just was such confirmation that these lights really do work.
Oh, absolutely. In the 6 or 8 months that I've been working with you and doing direct clearing work and processing and whatnot, I think this has accelerated your growth more rapidly than anything I've seen in anyone I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
And I've worked with some pretty great people. Mike, we gave you one of these bars also. You bought one to help you in your struggle against your cancer.
Yes, and I find it extremely helpful for clearing and just maintaining clean energy in my room during the day. I have the light array set up in front of my desk up high. And then I have a very large crystal on my desk with the light running through it. And then I have the 10-pound crystal ball under my desk between my feet that I'll often run the red root chakra energy through that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's very powerful.
Yeah, it's Mike probably wouldn't be here, folks, if it weren't for the subtle energy work and the esoteric work that he's been consistently working on. And he's been maintaining himself, not only maintaining, but healing. He is pulling out of this situation. It was a pretty deplorable one. Let's see, what more can I say about that, except that contact Joan or I, and we can give you the details on what the light bars cost, and or the details. We don't have them on the website yet, but the transitional therapy lights are on the website, Psytronics.com, PSI-TRONICS.com. That's mind power is what that means, Psytronics. And so I think if you're really on the path or want to be on the path and been struggling for many years, as most people have, metaphysical people, this is the best tool we've found to accelerate your growth. And I know that when I come into resonance with Rachel now, it's just virtuous straight across resonance. And Joan's been working with him too, in association with me, and she has really accelerated too in her ability to sense energy and feel things And of course, in association with myself and this group, she's learning what those energies are, how to deal with things. Isn't that right, Joan?
Well, you can feel the light does dislodge emotions that you really didn't expect to be there. Deep-seated emotions you haven't dealt with in a long time. You can just feel them break away. It does accelerate your spiritual growth, definitely.
Yeah, it's like a flash effect on your subconscious mind, like you're clearing the hard disk on a computer. There's so much clutter on a computer disk it eventually just loads up and gets so fragmented energetically that it bogs your computer down. They don't work well. And they call it defragging when they go in and reorganize a computer disk or hard drive to get things where you can work with it functionally again. And that's what these lights do. And not only that, I literally stumbled into the photon belt a few weeks ago and figured out what it was. I've been working with that and learning how to use that force and flow of pure high vibrational frequency to not only do clearing work on myself, but on others also. And I thought we might do that tonight in a meditation to demonstrate what you can do with yourself and what it feels like to be relatively clear for a moment, at least in your direct inner consciousness, even though you may not be clear in your peripheral consciousness. By that I mean using the chakra clearing technique, you can move things out in your aura. You can expand those out away from you, from your inner core reality. And in doing that, the stress of your lifetime is not there pushing at you for attention or just laying there, muddling things up. And if you get too much clutter, you simply can't do this esoteric work. You've got to be able to feel. Feeling is the language of the universe. And the other things like clairvoyance and clairaudience that come along with it are just handy byproducts. If you do have to have clairvoyance, it's a wonderful tool because you can see the energy fields. And all of these things will develop because they're all inherent within us in our DNA. And as we study literally and focus our energy on the opportunity, particularly to use this photon energy that's coming in now. If you can get the clarity and pull that in, it can have, I think, the same effect that our lights do. But you have to have, I think, a reasonable clarity to get that to work effectively in your area to know what you're doing. Walt, I see you're on. Welcome. I'd like to talk to you about what you know about the photon energy and what we're experiencing.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. What I know about the photon belt is what all of you already know, is that at this particular time in history, the entire solar system is crossing this area of space that's it's literally a giant beam of energy coming in from the galactic center. And that's why the entire, not only the Earth, but all of the planets of the solar system are experiencing changes. I mean, ever since this began, every single planet in the solar system has been reported as having, like, for example, they found polar caps on Mercury, the one planet where you wouldn't figure anything like that. But if people have been paying attention to the sky, you might notice that the sun doesn't look like the sun that we used to look at back in the 70s. The sun is no longer yellow. You no longer see a disk. Now when you look at the sun, it looks like a big white blob, blue-white. So the sun is telling us to our faces, I've already jumped into another octave of vibration. What are you guys waiting for?
Mm-hmm.
We should stop dragging our feet and start trying to replicate the old 3D world into this world because it's gone. I mean, we don't need to wait for the bad guys to leave to claim our dominion of the earth. we got to do it now. And we start with our own lives. And you say, this is my life, this is my space, and this is how I want my reality to be, and declare it. And take dominion of your life. It doesn't mean you're going to take dominion of your neighbor's life. No, it's your life. And the energies are right here. They're waiting and ready to support you in everything you want to do.
Mm-hmm. That's perfect. That's a beautiful description of what's going on. But the problem with all of this stuff is that we don't have a guidebook. Anything, literally, I haven't seen anything necessarily in
a guidebook. That's all 3D, Frank. There's no need for a guidebook because all of this energy, the photon energy, and you should know this, subtle energy follows your consciousness.
Absolutely.
And if you put your consciousness that you want to grab in and bring in the photon energy, you will. The thing is that you have to let Mother Gaia do her part and let that energy be stepped down for you and just ask, I want to experience the amount of photon energy that my body can tolerate right now comfortably. Because if you were to receive a tablespoon of the photon energy the way it is now, it would just incinerate you. It is far too strong. So Mother Gaia, with her energy fields and her atmosphere and everything, she's doing her best to step it down for the rest of us to be able to catch up. That's why so many people, and many of you may have noticed, it started several years ago, people coming down with all kinds of physical distortions. I mean, you should know, you are a professional energy healer. Why is this? Because all that old baggage that we're dragging is incompatible with the high vibration energies of the photon belt. It's pushing all the stuff to the surface so that you can clear it, get rid of it, so that your whole body can begin to transform and become compatible with this new energy. So if you make it your business and you speak to Gaia, because it is a sentient, conscious being, you ask it, okay, this is my life. I claim dominion of my life. I want photon energy that I can stand comfortably. So today you'll get a certain amount, and you'll be able to clear some stuff. And then tomorrow you'll be ready to do more, and so on and so forth. So as you get more photon energy into your system, you begin to grow and expand and change. But be ready for the changes. Most people that I know pray for change in their lives, but I want everything the same.
Well, that's
because they're terrified. Change means, I don't know, it means death, it means danger, it means, if this changes, where's my comfort going to go? No, change doesn't have to be bad. Just go with it and be ready. You call for the photon energy. Yes, your life will change, and just accept it, that it'll be the change that you want, and it'll be what's maybe not so much the change that you want at the ego level, but it'll be the change that you need. And that's and it all comes back to you with your clearing work.
That's exactly.
Yes.
Well,
clear the stuff out.
Exactly what I was wanting to address as far as the template is concerned, or having a guidebook. In the past, we relied on the only guidebooks we had, which was religions and things that the esoteric masters taught and whatnot. And those things are all passé. They're all old stuff. We need to let all of that go and move into this new dimensional reality of the fourth dimension that we're being hurried into now. And
you know who has the guidebook? You, in your heart.
Exactly.
That's the only guidebook you need. You will use your system, your body as it is, will tell you when something is for you or not. And proof positive of that is the internet is flooded with information and disinformation and channel material, and many people ask me, how do I know what's right? How do I know should I be listening to this person? Should I be listening to that person? And I always have the same answer every time. When you're reading the material or when you're listening to somebody's recording, how do you feel inside? Do you feel empowered? Do you feel you're expanding? Do you feel animated? Do you feel excited at something new? Or do you feel like somebody's squeezing your insight and you want to shrink into your chair?
Do you like the person that you're reading or seeing? or do you not like the person?
Yeah, feel it inside you. Your body will tell you that when you're listening to something that's wrong for you, or reading something that's really not good for you.
Well, I add something else to that also, and that's my little 5-step set of truths that I run everything through. As you're paying attention to these broadcasts and things, and a lot of this very esoteric stuff out there. Number one, does it do something? Is something actually happening in your system that you can feel? Number two, can it be repeated? Is it something that you can utilize within yourself and repeat it for further clearing work or acceleration of frequency work or whatever you happen to be doing? And number three, can you teach it to others? Which means it's a substantial thing that even though it's happening within you, we can talk to others just like we are the radio group tonight and the World Healers group here. We're sharing information so you can recognize what's happening to you. And that's why I wanted to talk about these energy flows tonight, is how many people out there are having things happen to them that they don't have a clue or understanding or how to utilize these things. And number four, in my little list, is it worth doing it all? Is it worth really? And you can tell pretty quick whether you think something positive is happening with you or not. And sometimes negativity comes in too. It's trying to block you and stop you from doing things, particularly if you're loaded with a lot of old patterns and programs that come up out of the earth mind realms, the negative earth mind realms that come up and want to block you, because as you accelerate your levels of consciousness, you'll break away from that and it'll no longer hold you in any form. And the fifth thing is literally do no harm. Is there any way you can do harm to yourself or others? If you can put these energies through that little test when you're working when these flows are coming into you. Well, let's describe these flows a little bit again. We were talking about it before the show started with several of the people.
May I offer you a step number 6 to your
Sure, absolutely.
Once you teach someone something that they can prove to themselves that it works, let them evolve it the way they want. Because since we're all unique, and we're unique like our fingerprints, somebody will grab your technique and they will make it work, but it will make it work in the way that it works for them.
Perfect.
So your truth is valid. It's just that you are male, that person is female, that other person is Afro-American, that other person is blonde, that other person is red. We're all unique. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that's, you teach it to them and they'll take off and they will trim it and tailor it and it'll work just perfect for them.
Well, that's why I specialize and always have from the very beginning of not teaching people techniques, but to simply give them information and give them a matrix, a frame of understanding about energy and how things work. And then however they want to use it, that's up to them, because you're exactly right. They'll all take it and utilize it in a different way. But we're all individual molecules, all contributing to a whole body out here of human consciousness. And so it's essential that everyone do find their own way so that we can impart and be a part of the whole, and not just everyone all concentrated down in the consciousness.
And that's why we're here, aren't we, for the exploration of truth? Right. And it's in exploring it that we, because one of the things, and I think you have experienced this in all your years and your extensive experience, when you're teaching somebody a healing modality or the principles of a healing modality, and the person decides to explore this because they're looking for a solution, they're learning about the modality, correct?
Well, most of them are that come to you just want to get fixed.
Yeah.
They know there's something wrong.
Yeah.
They can't, don't need to get into details, but they know there's something wrong. They're looking for a solution. And so ultimately they do have to do it themselves. We can empower them. We can give them techniques or knowledge or understanding, but ultimately they have to internalize it into their own biochemical, energetic.
The big healing you can give anyone is knowledge of themselves.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
We spend so much time hiding from ourselves. That's why we get sick.
Yeah. And it doesn't take long in our work as teachers to understand or recognize those who want to be fixed and then just go on back into their old ways, in which case it'll probably break down and they'll lose whatever gifts you give them. Or they'll be off chasing something else again and not utilize it. But those true seekers that literally work with things and internalize the information we give them, because that's one of the biggest things we have, is the realization that we have to internalize information just like you save information to a hard disk on a computer. When you internalize information down into your operating system, your subconscious mind, it associates everything you drop into it along with everything else it learned from other sources, or intuitively, or from their past lives. So we're just a cauldron of churning information down in here. But when you put enough of it together, your subconscious mind and your oversoul prompts these self-realizations. And these ahas, these self-realizations have to come before you can do this work. Because if you're just copying, imitating somebody else and what they're doing, I shouldn't pick on them, but I like to look at the Indians for this, because I call them, so many of them, pseudo-Indians that think they're shamans, and all they're doing is imitating somebody they saw that possibly was a shaman. So we want to avoid being pseudo-healers or pseudo-metaphysicians. Okay, let's drop this back onto a more personal level for everyone out there that might be listening that's having energetic experiences. Let's define what some of these feelings or flows of energy might be. Number one, when you're listening to us on this radio program, if you are open and receptive, have your channels open, or not, if you have an analytical side to you, suppress that or eliminate it. The analyzer is literally a learned program that we've created within ourselves to doubt others. The analyzer, and to check out what someone else is doing, to see what I can use out of that to enhance my own ego. It's an ego thing, the analyzer, and the controller is also another pattern that we can beneficially release. The Clearing the Way to Higher Consciousness book has a whole list of these things that we need to deprogram out of ourselves, so we become open vessels that can internalize information and then resonate it back out in a form of reality and understanding that other people can relate to, and which is effective. And does it do something? Is it worth doing at all? Can you repeat it? Can you teach it to others? The list is all right there. So let's see. So feeling within yourself is where it all begins. And when you're trying to do some of these meditation practices that you hear us or others talk about, if you feel blocks and resistance, if you can't drop something from your brain down into your internal system, then you know you have blocks in your system. And so the thing to do is deprogram those. And how do you do that? How do you know what you're deprogramming? Well, they're just energy. And the way you if you don't have the advantage of having the Clearing the Way books and techniques of learning how to do this, here's a quick method. Anything that feels like it's in opposition to you as you're trying to do something, or if you can't feel the energies, if nothing's happening, then you'll probably feel it in one of your chakras, usually the throat, your expressive chakra. If something is a thickness or tightness in your throat that's keeping you from expressing a thought or idea, or to follow someone else's lead in doing something, if that's a block to your personal expression of that particular idea or technique or skill or whatever it is. So you use your desire and will to clear that. It's just an energetic form that may be an actual entity type thing that's trying to block you and so what you do is just take your awareness there and focus all your attention on this feeling in your throat. And you create a torus outside of yourself spinning clockwise away from you, kind of a spiral away from you, and use that as an energy field to suck this thing out of you. And do that now. I feel just tuning into the thousands of people listening out there, I can feel a lot of you responding and relating to that. So just create a torus out in front of you, spinning clockwise. The energy always travels in a clockwise direction. If you're sending energy out away from you, it'll travel away from you if it's spinning clockwise. And energy never travels in a straight line because it's a wave. It's actually a wave. And if you'd see it three-dimensionally, it would be a spiral rather than just a standing wave. So whatever you feel in your throats now may be a block to internalizing what we're teaching you. So push it out. Just anything you can feel, just push it out energetically. Right straight forward until you feel your throat relax and clear. There, that's better. And this is how we work in group mind consciousness is many people doing the same thing. We help others who are having difficulty just through sheer willpower, the power of unified consciousness. So continue to clear it out. There's still quite a lot out there, people who have blocks to internalizing information. Now the second thing is, all the information that I've been giving you is stored in the frontal lobes of your brain in your short-term memory now. And all that good information Walt gave us on the photons and everything, you need to internalize that. Take it into your subconscious mind, into your hard disk. So the way you do that is take your awareness up into your forehead and right back into your brain, and you'll feel a pressure, kind of a fullness in the front of your brains up into the cerebral cortex. That's the thought forms, the mental, emotional, visual thought forms of what we've been creating as energy. They're being held there as energy. Now wrap your awareness around anything you can feel in your brain and pull. Just pull it down to the base of your brain. Open a trap door there and let that energy flow down your spine into all the chakra levels, into your hard disk, where it associates with all the other information from whatever source you've ever learned. And now you'll be able to utilize everything you've ever learned. Not only that, you've cleared one major block in your throat. So this could happen. If you're still feeling tightness there, keep on clearing that out. That's a major block of some kind. And we can help you incredibly to identify this stuff with the Clearing the Way books and the techniques. All right. So that's your introduction to energy. And storing energy, utilizing energy. So when you desire to do something with this now, say you put your point of attention on something that you want to remember that you may have looked at 10 years ago in a book somewhere. All you have to do is think in your mind, I want to remember that. And you don't do it with words, you do it with intent. You intend to remember that particular thing and just stay step way back, just open up and don't push at it. Just let it rise in your mind, and that subject will rise back up to your mind and extrapolate out as the information you need. And when it comes to expressing yourself as an energetic being of doing things, this becomes a functionality of a presence, a force of consciousness that literally radiates out from you and does things energetically with energy. So that's two ways. So let's look at another way of how you can feel, how you know what's affected you, for example. Give me just a second. Okay, sorry about that. I can't shut the darn thing off. When you're in the presence of somebody or a group of people, and you feel the intensity of their discussion, say they're talking about some subject, and they get all energized and up about it, you can feel that energy tangibly in your chakra system. It's just like a resonance or a force that comes into you. And you're downloading not just through your mind, but through your chakra system, through direct resonance from others. And this is another wonderful way of downloading information, is to let that information just assimilate into your system, whatever they're talking about. And it will. It's just like your body becomes a sponge. And when you're studying any particular subject, I call it sponging, where you gather up all the information, whatever source you can about that, and internalize it with the internalization process you just learned, and also this assimilation process. What you're doing there is working through your chakras, out through the grid of consciousness, the subconscious mind, out into the grid of consciousness of others who have already studied that particular subject. And as a little practice, it's quite easy to open up. And I call it listening. You listen with your body through resonance and attenuation of just assimilating energy and consciousness and information from other people. So listening is an important thing to learn, because listening downloads directly into your subconscious mind, so it can be directly utilized and internalized for your growth and your processes. If you're listening just with your brain, just with your ears or your eyes, then that passes through a whole series of judgmentalness and analytical reasoners and things like that might be programmed in your mind that actively can block a lot of good information from you, because you're prejudiced against whatever you might be reading or listening to. So this is another way of assimilating information. Now, another way, and this is a beautiful thing, is that when you ask the question, when you open your mind and reach out for information, the first thing that happens is your inner boards, so to speak, reaches to known information that you've learned somewhere, patterned into your brain or into your system, and it'll bring that energy up first. If it can't find it there, then it switches into the subconscious mind and brings up energy from this hard disk of this chakra system we're talking about here. And if it can't find it there, then it'll reach outside of yourself, out into this grid of consciousness that is the consciousness grid of all information that's out, that is peripheral to you in the lateral fields of human consciousness. And if you can't draw it in from that source by listening, then it'll drop into Earth Mind, which is the Akashic records, which is everything that's ever happened on Earth is stored in the Akashic records, in the crystalline consciousness of the crust of the Earth. And you can pull it up that way too, through the low cell. But then there's another way of getting information in, intelligence and consciousness. And that's by listening not to your inner self or your lateral self or your low self, but listening to your high self. Intuitive information, new information that has not come into the consciousness yet, and yet has the solutions of whatever particular problem you may be working on at any given time. And this is the one that I love to work in. This is where, when I step back in my deep inner consciousness and someone's asked a question, or I just open up. And if I don't find it in my immediate lower archives, I kind of open up and reach upward into the oversoul. I just take the request. You don't do it with A plus B equals C. It's ABC. It's just an intent, a need. And the need becomes an attractant for that information from the higher consciousness. And it just settles in a wonderful, beautiful way of inner knowing. And it settles in such a way, pardon me, that when you begin to speak of it, and with myself anymore, it's instantaneously. I don't even have to put my conscious mind on it to analyze what it's saying. I just begin, well, it's what channeling is. It's how channeling works. Just to become not the source, but the flow, the communicator of that information. And here we're in touch with universal consciousness, the consciousness of all the galactic fields that are right here with us and surrounding us. We are literally immersed in an incredible field of information. And learning how to access that is literally how you learn how to use the subtle energy systems in your body. Because if you have something that's a new energy or new experience that you don't understand, instead of just being frustrated at it or fighting at it with your mind, step back out of the mind and let your inner consciousness go through these steps of assimilation of energy and intelligence, and let that rise up in your mind, and it comes as pure, perfect understanding, and it's yours. It didn't come from anyone else. It came from you. You assimilated all the bits and pieces of the intelligence and bring it together as knowledge. You're drawing it from knowledge and bringing it out as information or intelligence. Any comments on that? I've often admired Walt's ability to remember technical information because he has been trained technically, but he has a wonderful intuitive flow also that fills in the gaps of information. And I asked him one time if he had a photographic memory, and he said only for the things he wants to remember. So I thought that was kind of humorous myself, because he pulls from all these sources and brings information up. Is that right, Walt?
Well, like I said before, as long as what I'm studying I like and I have a passion for it, I'll remember it in an instant. If you're forcing me to read something I couldn't care less about, I won't remember it to save my life.
I wonder if that has something to do with perhaps it not being true or the truth.
Elaborate.
Well, for instance, when we are children in school and they teach us history and it's his story and they've manipulated it so that I've never been interested in continuing any kind of a history. It just didn't ring with me that that's what I wanted to know. And the more I learn of I'll call it the galactic history, or the history that really is, that's easier to recall and to remember and to know because it feels so right within my being, that I wonder if that is true with most non-truths, that people have a hard time remembering it or believing it, and it just has to be beaten into you until that's what you do believe.
Well, the very fact that you are in tune to the higher dimensions of you was already telling you from the beginning, this isn't exactly real or true. So why would you like it? Yeah.
Walt, and Catherine, I also want to add to this conversation that I think as the veil gets thinner for us and we are to remember to live our lives through our heart, that filtration system actually starts to thin out. We don't edit everything anymore. It starts to actually, we enter the kingdom as children again, the meek and the humble. And that really kind of points to us navigating our plasma ship, if you will, through the heart resonant field, which has information come in, I feel, in a very different way. Frank, I don't feel like I use my memory a whole lot these days. Feels like it's just kind of streaming in when I need it.
That's true, because you are rising into these higher frequencies where you simply are communicating knowledge that is simply instantaneous and available without you having to think about it or draw it up from any of the old pattern program sources.
Okay, so now I am on track. I incurred a brain trauma injury some 19 years ago. And I remember talking with my neurosurgeon about not remembering things. I mean, I could walk, I could talk, and I knew love. But I didn't remember, say, like my first grade teacher or the first time I drove a car or, the first like that. I will say like a first, like I didn't remember my daughter being born. So I was concerned and I asked him, I go, what if I never remember again? And bless this man, just bless him. He looked me straight in the face and said, Catherine, that's fine. Just create new memories. Mm-hmm. And that's what I took true to my heart. And even to this day, I don't remember. I know that we spoke Wednesday and Saturday, but I don't remember what of. But I know that we did. But right now, right here, I remember everything that's going on. You
internalize the information, and when you ask for it, it comes back up.
Yes.
When you need it. Also, Catherine, you're unique in the fact that, like other walk-ins that I've worked with, walk-ins don't have memory of whatever the physical body is assimilated. It can use it, but that's why it takes usually several years for a walk-in to become assimilated and become functional in a new walk-in body, because it doesn't come in as a whole set of memories and emotions, and it has to remember it or forget its past lives, so it won't be relating to the physical world as a 19th century person or something like that. So you are unique, and thank you for commenting on that, because it validates the awareness I've had for many years that walk-ins are unique and they have to be taught, just like any brain injured person does when they can't remember anything. Then they assimilate, and they learn to assimilate right out of the group mind consciousness, just to absorb it back in for memories and things like that they need to operate physically in the world.
Listening to what you're saying about that, Frank, how blessed I've been that I was around people who were caring and loving and didn't have, I'll say, preconceived ideas of how I should be. They allowed me to discover who I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And they allowed me that grace to do it. So I owe my family a lot of gratitude for that. And everybody do realize that, even with young children who are learning, allow them to become who they are. Just love them for who they are.
Exactly. And just as curiosity, do you ever have contact with Kathy, the person who had the body for the first 23 years or however long it was? She's your soul twin,
Sparingly, and I don't know why. I haven't discovered or explored the reason why on that one. But sparingly, every once in a while, I'll get glimpses of, I remember her, or I remember that.
Yeah. Well, her soul went with Jeff when he died anyway. Your husband was killed in the auto accident. And so you walking in, out of the soul stream, your family's whole soul stream, you would have assimilated some information there, but, enough to take care of your daughter and have that focus. That's primarily why you came in anyway.
Yeah, well, everything worked, and there again, even to this day, I'll be doing something, and I don't get upset with myself if I don't remember how it goes, i.e., like the Skype thing went down, and I didn't panic because I didn't know how to do it. I got help, and it's one of those, like, I've done it before, I can do it again, and just stay on that mode, and the knowledge will come up if and when it's necessary.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. That's great validation for what we've been discussing tonight of how to access information, how to utilize it to do things with the energy potentials of the physical body with intent, and how to focus will energetically outside of yourself to accomplish things. And we all do that much more than we realize, because we do create our reality around us. Our reality appears before us as we walk out the front door back into that street again, because with the group mind conscious of the neighborhood and the Devic forces of consciousness that hold the form, you know that the street is always going to be there when you walk out that door. And in your case, it's always going to be that beautiful river behind you there that gives you such solace. Okay, we've gotten a little bit off of our primary theme of when energetic things come in, these frequency flows from the galactic. What should we do? Well, these heavy, intense energies that are coming in from the photon belt right now, which for those of you that's not experiencing these, I'd like to demonstrate how to open up and allow those to come in, because they will do virtually the same thing I've been trying to do with our will and intent for the last 10,000 years, is get our frequency levels back up to frequency and out of that dark cycle and into the light again, where we can make our forward growth in this 2,000-year period that we're just moving into before we move it into another down cycle of on the dark side again. What I experienced, and this is the way I do it, is remember the clearing away technique, the basic technique we use for clearing and simulating energy. Is when you think of something with the frontal lobes of your brain, then every system in your body comes into attunement with that, and you can only hold one thought in your mind at a time. And that's the frontal, that's the desktop of the frontal lobes, desktop of your computer. And you know desktops, you can only print one line of script at a time there. It's A plus B equals C. It has to make sense, or it's just gibberish. And that's what our frontal lobes of our brain does. And so we hold that, and it becomes a visual reality for us in form and in inner visualization. And if it worked for this process, everything out there would just be energy fields. But this is how our wonderful brain creates and makes sense out of the hologram of information we dwell in. But this is how it works. When you think about something, and it rises up into your mind from these areas of the body and the brain and the lateral fields and all these other sources I mentioned, it rises up onto the desktop, and the reticular sorts out exactly what you need to create that one line of script. That's one focus of attention. Now, when you're working with something in your conscious mind, and you want to clear a program out of your subconscious, what you do is recognize that when you're thinking about something, you feel in your body where it's stored. And when you feel where it is, where the frequency is in your body, you can either deprogram it by pushing that energy right straight out into a torus to get it out of your system, dragging it to trash, in other words, or if you're thinking about something that you want to have or know about, you feel where it's stored in your system. Again, you'll feel where the vibraports are reaching out for that information into the group mind consciousness. And this is how you use your psychic ability, incidentally. You just open up, step back into the psychic level, and just suck that information in. Just pull it in, and it'll rise up into your mind and reconstitute itself as the information you need. So that's how you use the clearing the way techniques to manage your biocomputer. But this is the point I'm trying to make. If you want to experience the photon energy, I'll show you how to do it. Everyone close your eyes. Close your eyes. Take your point of attention up into your forehead and step right straight back now into the soul center. Now your soul is actually this indwelling aspect of individualized God force consciousness that's experiencing our reality out here. It's what gives God a life experience. So your soul wants to know about photon energy. All right, you simply think about photon energy, and you reach outside of yourself, right out through your third eye, knowing that there's a belt of that we've been moving into, photon energy. And you may even see it, the swirling energies of light. Just use your brain as a sponge, like a funnel, to draw that photon energy in. And as long as you're thinking about photon energy, that's all it'll bring in. Now you feel it come into the frontal lobes. Move it on back deeper. It feels like a denseness, and it is dense because this is the particle part of the photons. Actually, it can be a wave or a particle. And this is actually, pull it on in deeper. Pull it on down into your system. Drop it down through the base of your brain. Down into your body. And just to simulate this tremendous energy potential. Now inherent in this is pure energy unorganized. And this pure energy arises from the fact that anodes and diodes have collided out there, antigens and posigens, and destroyed each other, releasing the energy as light. So you pull all that light frequency and potential down into yourself, all what you can handle. This will only take in as much as it can handle. It's like Walt said, if you took a spoonful of it, it'd blow you into a million pieces. But just bring in what your system needs. And here is the beauty of this. As it passes through your indwelling soul, you add the intent, working with the frontal lobes of your brain, of what it is you want to change in your system. All right, subconscious, please open up and simulate this energy now. And what we want to do at this time is clear blocks out of my system that would inhibit my pure natural energetic interaction with the universe. To pull in photon energy with the intent of clearing that block in your throat that we felt earlier. There, wow, feel how wonderful it feels. Bring it on down the spine, on down through the chakras, all the levels of the chakras, clearing blocks to all the wonderful energies of consciousness we've been discussing tonight and experiencing, all the way down into the root chakra. You feel your whole body fill up with clarity now, because you're releasing and clearing blocks and negativity and old patterns and forms that are not necessary to this new reality. All right, ask to clear any unnecessary third dimensional programs out of your system. Drop it down the spine and just flow. Let this wave of energy flow down your spine and just clear and drop all of it down into Earth Mind. It's a good way of getting rid of it. Earth Mind doesn't care. Out the base of your spine. Earth Mind just assimilates it because it's more energy for it to use. Subconscious, Indwelling soul, you're doing a wonderful job. Continue to clear my entire system of third-dimensional fixed realities that no longer serve me. Beautiful subconscious, you're doing a wonderful job here. Now drop on down through the root chakra into earth mind, in the akashic record, the silicon dioxide, and clear from my instinctive consciousness. Clear the patterns and forms that I'm releasing now. Clear them out of the akashic record so they are no longer there because they're just clutter. Now hold that flow and shift your attention, even while you keep the photon energy coming in, shift your attention to the back of your head where the galactic flow comes in, and let that drop down through your arms and through the polarities of your left side and right side, through your hands. Feel that your body signal now, the photon energy and the galactic energy interacting in the 0 point in your heart. Hold your hands up close to your heart. Now we add the intent of the indwelling soul into these flows. Indwelling soul, I direct you, subconscious mind, to create and hold the form of my entrance into the fourth dimensional reality, where I lose and release and clear all negativity, all patterns of domination forces from my system, where I release from myself any old blocks or negativity. I just flush it on down my spine and out now. And now moving up, feeling myself moving up with clarity into the fourth dimension. I focus on things I want to experience and learn and develop in the fourth dimension. And number one, I want to pull together the strands of my DNA, the scattered strands of the DNA in every cell in my body to recreate the 12 strands of genes and DNA that are already there waiting to be activated. So I activate them etherically, and that acts as a template to pull in, and I organize and arrange my 12 strands of DNA so I can function to the highest and best of my ability in this fourth dimensional realm. As I raise my vibrational frequencies, reaching up to the fifth dimensional realm, I simulate my abilities, my psychic abilities, my clairsentience, clear feeling, clear audience, clear healing, my healing abilities, my natural intuitive abilities are all opening up as I continue to flow the photon energy, the higher vibrational frequencies in, as I bring in the historic information from the galactic center, from those who have gone before, into my 0 point. Through the power of the Christ within us, we recreate our highest and best possible potential in direct accordance to our level of need and learning at this time. Knowing that we will continue to grow and evolve, understanding how this all functions and works now, knowing we can come back here at any time we want to and continue to evolve our frequency levels and our intelligence. And most importantly, our inherent spirituality, spiritual knowing. Oh, and so it is. Well, that came
Ready
together.
for a tune, Frank?
Pardon?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that came through well. Are you ready for a tune, Frank?
Yeah, I just want everyone to pay attention and notice how clear you are now. Go ahead, let's take the break. All right, that was beautiful.
That's a lovely piece of music, isn't it? That's by Punit Yatri, who lives in Edinburgh. He's a friend of a friend.
And did you notice, and I've noticed this many times on our shows, the background flow of energy that was coming in behind the music?
Yeah, it's bouncing around the world as it goes through the Skype lines and coming through people's speakers and coming back. You can get it's quite interesting. I used to play with tape recorders when I was a kid, and that's the sort of sounds that I used to play with. All kinds of messing abouts with multiple tape recorders. It was good fun.
Well, that's the galactic flow, and in that flow of energy, which is when we call this indirectly, it carries, or it can be programmed to carry waves from the galactic beings who want to communicate with us. And so we do that quite frequently in our small group because it has a tremendous effect on our body, just like the working with the photon belt and the galactic flow did tonight in this clearing session. Incidentally, folks out there listening, we'll try to do one of these techniques, if you call it that, or they're absolutely spontaneous when they come through. And we never know what to expect, but they all do wonderful things for our systems. And the more you practice these things and learn how to work with these yourselves, the greater mastery you'll gain over your own energy systems and your bodies, and working with galactic energy and all of that. But more importantly, share this with others. Have your friends who might be interested in metaphysics sit in and listen and participate in these things. And go to the archives of shows that we've had in the past, because every one of them, and there must be hundreds of them by now, has bits of information, techniques and things that you can accumulate and internalize and develop your own systematic psychic and intuitive mastery, self-mastery. That's what it is. So anyone have anything to add to that? Yeah, tell us how to do it, JP. Or Gary. How do we find the archives?
Oh, the archives. Well, in the Wolf Spirit Radio archives, if you're a subscriber, you can subscribe to the entire archives for a mere $5 for a month. If you want. If you're a cheapskate, you can buy 1 month and then let it lapse and download like heck. Trash your server
if you're
and
a cheapskate,
blow your... Yeah, if you're a cheapskate.
You can go to
but
Universal
if you're
Mind Radio.
Lovely...
And,
what's that, Gary?
If you're a real cheapskate, you can go to Universal Mind Radio and go down a little bit and you'll see a YouTube link to the YouTube archives. And if you click there, you can listen to it for... yeah, that's the recent ones, but the older ones will all be at JP, at Wolf Spirit Radio.
They're all incredible.
But they're on the universalmindradio.com. You'll see a link there for the archives, YouTube archives.
Yeah, the more current ones with the present level of consciousness that we're working in, which is the photon energy and the galactic energy and things of that nature, will be on the later ones. But it's all available. It's all important, because every time you make a shift in your inner consciousness, you affect everything outside of yourself too. And that's what it's all about, is one by one, we reach out and resonate and turn others on and attract them. So help us to make this available to everyone around the world. And of course, we do appreciate your support in this. There are buttons where you can donate to Wolf Spirit Radio and to JP's radio programs. And certainly, I appreciate direct donations to myself for the healings and whatnot we do. You can go through PayPal and just pay me directly and donate through FL Jordan at cable1.net. CABLEONE.net. That's my email address.
Right. Do you have a donate button on your website that connects with your PayPal account? Because it's really easy to set up, and I can let you know how to do that.
I learned how. We're going to be doing that soon.
Excellent, Joan. Well done. I also want to say that I spent some time with my girlfriend Wolf Baby last night, and we've made a whole bunch of amazing looking products that are available on our website, Beyond Radio. I just want to give that a plug because they are lovely, and you should check them out. They're shungite and silver. They're lovely, and copper.
And the Cytronics website, that's where you'll find my books. CDs. We're not printing books any longer. We merely do it electronically and download the books right directly into your system. We just can't afford to print these things and ship them around anymore. But we can download directly into your computers, and you can print them yourselves or distribute them as you please. And we have dowsing tools, CDs, for meditation. The chakra clearing meditation certainly is beneficial to anyone, and that's a process that does more than anything else for clearing the way to higher consciousness that we've evolved. And I see we have our beautiful new friend Yvonne on from over in New Zealand tonight. Yvonne, you got anything to say to us tonight? Yvonne? Oops, I think. Can you talk to us, Yvonne? Well, she's a wonderful healer over there that's benefited tremendously, she says, by our work and clearing work, and she's passing it on to the people she serves. And we have a growing groups around the world. We have a beautiful person in India, too, Gayati, and more and more showing up around that are communicating with us. And that's another point we want to bring out, is that I am available to help you do personal clearing work. And simply email me or call us at 208-344-9188, and we'll see if we can set up a few sessions with you to help you get on your way and get the clarity to be able to do these things that we're demonstrating and talking about. Because this is what makes effective progress out in the world, is not only doing them within our own inner circle, but be able to unify in the group mind circle and of consciousness that has a tremendous healing power that we use in this hour of the program. Do we have anyone who is desiring healing tonight, JP?
Well, I have a friend of mine. Her name is Glynis Wozniak. She lives in Lanark in Scotland, and she fell off a horse I think a couple of days ago, and has broken some ribs. And there's not much help that is really available to people these days, especially in the rural area where she is. So I'm sure she'd appreciate a bit of I can feel it, actually. I can feel it already. It's like it's right up in my back.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah, go.
Being an old cowboy myself, I can relate to this type of injuries, and I wish I had known how to heal them when I was on the ranch. But one thing about traumatic energies like this, shocks or traumas, they heal very quickly, because there's really no, other than the shock of the accident, there's no mental emotional cause for the illness. So, JP, you just bring her into your mind now so we can pick her up. And in the group mind resonance now, we reach out through our psychic center to everybody in the World Healers group. And just, we focus our desire and will, and we're holding our left hand over the front or the side of the ribs that were broken. and our right hand over the backside. And it's like we're creating a polarity between our hands. And you feel your hands getting very intensely hot as we talk about this. That's the galactic flow coming through. And we're operating directly through the 0 point connection with Glynn. And through the power of the Christ within us, we see these ribs in the perfect and normal condition. We see the cracks accelerating and healing. But first, we want to go to the accident. Step back in time to the accident. And Glenn, you know what you did to create that situation for whatever cause. So in your mind, create a different situation where this accident does not occur. And then come forward to the actual accident itself and release the shock and the trauma and the pain. Just push that out of your system. So it's not part of your cellular memory. Through the power of the Christ within us, now we're visualizing the ribs all coming back into place and healing. The cracks are healing, suturing. The trauma is healing. The inflammation is healing. All right, you got some back problems there too. We'll just do those while we're at it. Get that jolt. See things out.
I'm feeling like she kind of fell down on her right shoulder and everything's been pushed back from the shoulder backwards.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm really feeling that. I'm catharsising it here as well. I'm like leaping up and down, my arms flailing all over the world. Anyway, so it's quite interesting.
So we just bring our right upper spine from about go all the way down to the lumbar region, and we just bring our hand slowly up or back. See all the discs, all the misalignments come back into the pure and perfect condition up to where the traumas. This is affecting all the nerves in her whole system. That's why she's so sore. Now we spread her hands laterally around, encompassing all that soreness. And pain, there is no more pain. There is no pain. Now we just wrap a healing flow completely around her body, going clockwise, looking down from the top. This will allow the healing to continue, and a counterclockwise flow, the negative polarity to balance it. And we see Glennis in the pure and perfect condition. Okay, have her give us feedback on how she does. We'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll try and make a clip of this program as well so she can get a good burst of the energy. But I can feel a sense of like, actually, it feels like I feel like I'm on painkillers, and that's probably because we're tuned into her, and she's probably taken a major dose of painkillers so she could relax tonight and get some sleep. Mm-hmm. And so, So if we can move on from that, I can feel a little less woozy. We have a healing request for Shari of Guelph, Ontario, Canada, for emotional healing. So this is from LYNN. So LYNN, you'll have to link us in with Shari if you can. Hold her in your heart.
All right, LYNN. You understand through empathy and resonance what Shari's experiencing. What we're helping her to do now is just reaching out through resonance and lifting that emotional trauma. Whoa, that's quite heavy. That emotional trauma that's upsetting your entire system. We go back in time and release and heal the condition, the circumstances that caused the emotional trauma. Lift it up and release it. Just let it go, Sherry. It does you no good to, in any manner or any way, to harbor this within yourself. It just prolongs the agony. So let the healing occur, come back into peace and comfort with the realization that whatever created this emotional problem, there's a reason for that. There's a lesson to be learned, internal lesson with self-realization, and move ahead, move on to your life, totally releasing, letting go. There, do you feel the release? Now, Sherry, reach into the galactic flow and the back of your head and pull down and through the top of your head a flow of unconditional love. This is pure heart energy. Bring this into your own heart so that you can look at whatever and whoever caused your emotional problem and just send them unconditional love with no expectations. With no expectation of return. That's what unconditional love is. It's given in the wholeness of wanting to have balance and harmony in your lives. And you release it. Anytime any of this trauma comes up again in your system, simply wrap it in unconditional love and release it. It's not beneficial to you to harbor this any longer in your system. Now I see also Lynn has requested healing for Marianne, London, Ontario, for pain in ankles and wrists. All right. We'll go through Lynn again. Marianne. All right. This stress in your ankles, Marianne, I want you to release now. The stress of expectations on you, of having to be productive and do things and be places that is causing like an arthritic condition in your ankles and wrists. It's let go of the resistance to whatever it is that you don't want to be doing, that you are either obligated or mandated to do. Let go of your resistance and ask for a reality, create a reality where there is no stress in the flexibility of your system, of being able to adjust and simulate activities. Let that all go, and we're clearing the inflammation from your ankles and wrists. And I'm wrapping those in a green energy field so they will continue to heal, but most importantly, let go of the mental emotional cause of the overwork and the stress. Okay, so it is. All right, I see from Teresa, Gary Wardell, advanced symptoms of ALS, unable to swallow or talk, difficulty breathing. Is this the same one we worked with before, Teresa?
We actually didn't work on them at all yet.
Oh, okay.
This will be the first time.
All right. This has to do with a miasma of the nervous system. So we're putting our group hands all over get Jerry Wardell's body in his aura. We're resonating polarity through our hands And the first thing to do is go to his heart center and in the 0 point. In the 0 point, we release the mental, emotional, the symptomatic cause of why this illness developed in Jerry. We go back in time and clear it from his life stream flow so that life is beautiful and rewarding for him, and create a reality without the ALS. Bring it into the 0 point and we resonate into his moment of now, clarity, purity, free of the mental, emotional, or any organism that may be the causative factor in this. And it looks like a whole miasma of just stress. Release the stress, the desire to find independence from whatever he's created that has literally taken over his life. We see the nervous symptoms dissipating, clearing his whole nervous system. We see every nerve and cell in his body resonating, the energy coming through our hands. Now it's the exact frequency that's needed to neutralize and reverse this condition. We even reach into his cellular DNA structure for any predisposition. There it is. The predisposition to ALS. Release, which is triggered through stress. Through the power of the Christ within us, we see Jerry now in his 0 point, creating a new reality. Every cell in his body is recreating a new reality as the genetic predisposition is cleared and released. We see system coming into normalcy, and we see him conducting his life in a joyous way that is free of this so-called unhealable disease, but it is healable because we got to the cause and we release it now. To release Jerry to come back into his pure and perfect condition. Feeling a lot of pressure up in his head. We heal and clear, release the emotional trauma of what he's already experienced, the fear. And I want to open up now to the photon flow. We're working directly with the galactic flow. I want to bring in the photon energy, which carries the very essential energetic force particles that manifest in the form of life. So we're going to bring in through Jerry this new photon flow. It carries the essence and the elements of light, the healing essence of light that resonates directly from the sun. We see the light coming into his body and extending out through every cell in his body. Every cell in his body becomes a photon, a simulator of light and frequency through the power of the Christ within us. We see Jerry in the perfect and normal condition. And we project that into Jerry's future. And Teresa will continue reinforcing this healing.
Mm-hmm. Happily.
All right. So it is.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a healing request. Halka from Hamilton, Ontario, for protection from the deceased ex-husband who was hunting her down. So we go into Halka, into her situation, and she's being what we have to do is clear and release and break down the standing waves of the past. It's resonating into the moment of now, of when they're and releasing the karma between these people, and release that husband. We're taking his low self, low soul now directly into the light, and in the transition zone, calling in and doing the Book of the Dead for him and any entities that were attached to him that could be affecting Halka. We take those into the light and totally clear and release her from this as she works to with unconditional love, to break down the forms of karma, the standing waves of karma between them. It isn't like just giving forgiveness. It's like de-manifesting the form by making right choice in the experiences that created all the distress between you. So in your visualizations, Halka, make the right choice as you go back and clear the karma between you and your ex-husband. And we've cleared and freed him, released him into the light where he can evolve on. Okay. So it is Yvonne, healing request for Frank in New Zealand. Has tensionovitis in her right wrist. They call it blackberryitis from using the computer. All right. Yvonne will help you with this one. We'll direct the energy through you so that you know the person.
I think it's for her, Frank.
Oh, it is for her. All right. All right, Yvonne. We realize you need to use the computer, but that repetitive action in that position is causing stress and strain. So we're wrapping that now in a healing energy to clear the inflammation. Totally clear and release. Feeling energy wrap around your wrists, on both wrists. Now let's bring in the galactic flow. That's the tingling sensation you have through her hands. Yvonne, we want you to experience the photon flow too. If you heard our earlier program, how that's to be done, simply put your attention on the photon light belt, photon belt, and open your forehead and pull that energy in and let it distribute it down through your system, and feel it happening now. Wrap it around, not only around your wrists, but the rest of your body to clear any three-dimensional stored patterns or programs that may be detrimental to your health and vitality. Just let that light flush down through you now. Continue to clear through the power that guides within us. We see Yvonne in the perfect and normal condition. Incidentally, Yvonne, welcome to the group.
And when you use the computer, Yvonne, don't think of this anymore. It's gone. So don't let it be there.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now let's see what else we have here. We have Samantha Fenwick, Dallas, Oregon, headaches, 5 days in the emergency room, visit. All right, Catherine, we'll go through you on this one.
Okay.
You know this person, so let us supply you the energy and you conduct the healing.
I am going to graciously bow out of this because of personal feelings.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Just focus your attention on Samantha. The first thing to do is just clear that cloud of negativity around her. Okay, these entities love this kind of thing. So we clear the external entities. I see just a dark cloud around her head. We take that out of the field, directly out of her now. Entities go back into your own dimension. And you want to drop down deeper levels in her, the core of her head where she has a cross-dimensional entrenched. It actually looks like antigens. And then, all right. So we create an opposite flow, counterclockwise flow, and that acts as the attractant to take it out of her head. Create a morphogenic field, counterclockwise flow. That sucks cross-dimensional out of her. Take all of her children. We rotate Samantha to the left in a counterclockwise direction that creates a negative field in her reality that repulses the antigens, the entities. We take them on out in the counterclockwise. This is one of the few that we work with that we have to use the opposite energies on. Healing energies, if we had put that on her, would have just made it worse. Okay, now we ask, is Samantha clear? Yes. Did she have anything else? No. All right. Now we put a healing, a beautiful, gentle, subtle 120 energy in her head to replace all that inflammation. Incidentally, we just did this a couple of weeks ago for Yvonne. How have you been feeling, Yvonne? Any more headaches?
Yeah. Much better. I've had to be, consistent myself with it. So I've been learning and, not giving it any power. It's been a really interesting, very nice process. And then the freedom of not having headaches and all that energy and, just feeling so much love that I couldn't feel before. I'm really, really grateful. Thank you.
All right. I'm directing some more energy to you right now to take that last bit out of there so you don't even have to worry about it. Don't even put your thoughts on it so it doesn't have any energy. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, who do we have now? Anyone looking at the moon?
Well, what we got? It's dark here. It's, what's his name? Overcast. So Samantha, who have we got?
Are you seeing the eclipse, Joan? I thought it was supposed to be.
The moon is real blurry right now, like you're cross-eyed or something. There's a double moon, kind of blurry in vision. I think it's supposed to eclipse around 3-4 o'clock this morning.
Is that today? I thought it was on the 8th.
Well, if you look at it now, it's awful darn blurry.
Do you have your glasses on?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
I thought it was the 8th too, but I sure would like someone to explain what's happening.
Where's our astrologers?
The moon, I see the moon real clear out my window. It's pretty normal looking.
Well, maybe it's smoke in the air here or something.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking in my charts and I don't see a thing about it.
Maybe somebody bet on it, Joan, and they lost.
No.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong month. Here we go.
Here we go. I've got some information. This is the moon first dips into Earth shadow at approximately 9:15 Universal Time. That's 2:15 a.m. PDT. So that's it's about 8 hours time. Kicking off the partial phase of the eclipse. Kicking off the partial phase of the eclipse totality, when the moon is fully immersed, begins at 10:25 Universal Time. That's in the morning, which is 3:25 a.m. PDT, and lasts for nearly an hour. During that time, the moon will look red.
Oh, blood moon.
Yeah.
The reason I'm curious is in our Earth Mind work on Saturday, yesterday, I got the strong realization that this could stimulate a lot of earthquakes right now. So let's all reach out now to the moon, and the combined energy of the moon and the sun in opposition to each other, which is causing stress on Earth. We want that stress to be diffused by the golden grid of energy we've created around the Earth to protect the Earth from things just exactly like this. We want the sun energy and the moon energy to be in harmony and balance now, so it's not pulling at the plates. Because we had one earthquake in Las Vegas today that's highly unusual. So
there's also a typhoon off Japan right now.
So let's let this feel the Earth stabilize and come back into balance again, while the energies dissipate around the golden grid. We have enough energy there that we've pulled up into that from the stress of the Earth plates to do this.
Apparently the typhoon's heading for Tokyo.
All right, let's shift our attention to the typhoon and direct it up the coast and away from the landmass. We do that by shifting the high pressure to the north of it, so it pulls up northward. All right, so it is. I don't see any more requests. Do you have any, JP?
That's it, really, I think. Everybody's pretty well at the moment. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Okay.
Well, I can easily cover the time with some nice music. So
we have a group here that can talk anytime. So let's have some chat amongst the group.
Yeah. Okay. So we have about 8 minutes.
All right. Group, you're on. Or off.
Now, we're all here, but everybody's pondering what to talk of. A question I will ask. A friend was arrested at work in the middle of the week for a trumped up charge of theft at a job she had over a year ago. And her husband, the woman who was arrested, is married to a police officer, but they still treated her like they would anybody else, arresting her, at work, and a lot of trauma. How would you conduct a prayer or a feeling of emotion to help calm that stress that people who are unjustly arrested?
Well, in the first place, you're looking directly at the domination force there, and it's inappropriate that she be brought into that energy too, whether the person who was unjustly arrested was guilty or not. That has yet to be proven in a court of law. But in a balanced state of consciousness, if he had done the infraction, he will find his karma. The karma will be visited upon him, which may be what's happening now, but it shouldn't be imposed on him or on her until he's had his day in court and had the opportunity to prove himself. And so the thing to do is just take this whole situation and just pour a ton of unconditional love into it. So the people are shifted out of the domination consciousness of prejudging the person or including her in the situation, to where they said just in the purest, most easily healed situation. So do that now. Just empathy, if properly directed, empathy can be a tremendous healing force. So we send empathy to the people without any backlash. So we have to be careful with empathy, is because quite often it backflushes and includes you in the trauma. So we send empathy, understanding, and the desire for it to all be codified and healed and work through to perfection for everybody involved. And we just wrap them all in a force field, a field of consciousness of unconditional love, with the desire that everyone is treated in dominion. Because in dominion, the circumstance would simply clear itself away and disappear, be brought back into harmony again.
I find this whole lesson right now so interesting on how quickly we get out of the dominion emotion when there is what we term as an unjust situation.
Unfairness. So we project fairness into it, the situation. Now we're creating a tangible force here that will affect everybody involved, the cops, the people that brought the charges, everybody shift their feeling from anger and domination and fear into understanding the situation and finding the right and proper action.
and adding forgiveness in there.
Yeah, let them forgive. It doesn't do any good to punish someone if they have learned the lesson, and that's what punishment's all about, is to teach a lesson. But if the people who actually did the crime comes forward or are brought into justice, and it all comes into balance again. And let the lesson be learned and release it all. Okay, well, that was kind of a downer, but that's life. That's what's out there. We release it.
But I think it helped a lot of people. It wasn't just them, but, there are a lot of people in that situation. And it's very hard to get caught up with anger and fear and then wanting revenge. And there's just so many negative emotions that can come through with a situation like this. And I think we helped a lot of people just doing that one.
Exactly. To send it out with her intent to help a lot of people. All right. Very good. Okay. Thank you, Catherine. Anyone else?
I got to tell you, Frank, I was thinking about having us do a healing on my right knee, because I have the same thing, I'm sure, going on with my right knee that went on with my left. But when we did that, the going in and having the galactic flow and going up to the fifth and just having all that wonderful positive energy and changing ourselves, I got so hot and I got so full and so tingly. I don't have any pain anymore, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to. It's healed.
Perfect.
So I'm going, hey, I was just moving my leg, my knees around and going, okay, it worked. Something shifted, and because I felt a whole lot shift, but I didn't realize it because my whole body was just, I was crying.
Our whole body is nothing but light particles. And so, yeah, we're learning to work, rather than being subjective and working from the third dimension, we're learning to work from the fifth dimension of directing those particles to manifest perfection and purity automatically. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to have any pain or hurt.
Mm-hmm. How do you know you're in either the fourth or the fifth dimensions?
Are you still hurting?
Aha.
Sorry, I just didn't resist that one.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you.
Well, with me, I go with Frank so much. For me, Frank, what he says and what he does resonates so strongly within me. I can do a lot of the stuff myself, but it's much more powerful focusing on Frank and what he is saying. And if I didn't know which dimension I was in, I wouldn't know. All I knew was I was going up. And each one of us views how we go up, and what we see, what we feel is all different. And I can't compare mine to yours and yours, it's all different and where it's supposed to be. So a lot of times I don't get what you guys get, but I get what I'm supposed to get.
Yeah, but I just wondered, how do you identify the difference between the fourth and the fifth? I know absolutely I don't feel pain when I'm in those higher levels, but how do you distinguish what level you're in? Because Frank, you had spoken.
It's all the same reality. The physical reality is still here. It just gets less dense.
Yeah.
there's less physicality to it, and so.
I just get a lighter, brighter. The light gets much more intense and brighter. And I just feel my physical body get lighter and, like I said, just brighter and more full. And, my body just, if I didn't know better, I went, I still get, hot flash thing, just wait. Everything was just on fire. And it just gets more intense.
And that's being in attunement, folks. Well, we're about there, JP.
Indeed we are. Thank you very much, Frank. Bless your heart. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, JP.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Bless everybody.
Good night.
Praise the Lord.
On me.
Are we going to do some stellar or stay on here or?
Let's go to stellar.
Okay.